All right, here we are, SportsBit 2.0, betting insight today on SBR Picks. Pauly Howard, Teddy Covers at Real SportsBit on Twitter. He's at Teddy_Covers. Western Conference Finals, Game 1. We'll get to that and the play of the day. We'll turn the shot clock on. We'll deep dive the big news. We start with a bang, a comeback for the ages. Congrats to, big congrats to Senator Ray Lesniak in New Jersey as he got beat over and over and over again. Got knocked down. He kept getting back up. The Supreme Court rules 7-2 to overturn the federal ban on sports wagering. Each state will be able to decide. And Teddy, the comments over the years, David Stern saying New Jersey doesn't know what they're doing. Bud Selig saying it'd be a horrible idea. The NFL and what Goodell has said over the years and before him, Tagliabue, an amazing day, Teddy. And how about the fact that New Jersey was the chalk going into this, that when people who were at the courtroom and heard the oral arguments said, hey, this thing's like 240, 250 favorite, that they're going to get maybe a 6-3 or 5-4 decision. It was 7-2 today with the Supreme Court.
All right, dude, we should be dancing in the streets for this one. I mean, this is a lot of fun. This is something that when I first moved to Las Vegas in 1998, I mean, inconceivable, Pauly, to think about where and how much. It's not us in Vegas who've changed. It's all of you guys out there. The mainstream world has changed when it comes to the relationship with sports betting. We're going to deep dive on this topic. Obviously, it's a huge story. It came out just before we went on air. I've been trying to compile some tweets, put everything together for you in short order, but we'll deep dive, talk about all the nuances and implications of this decision later in the show.
Yeah. I am worried about if the days of 110 are done as well. We'll get to that coming up. Bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books. Bad for the books at the South Point here in Las Vegas. $35,000 baseball parlay on the Yankees, Astros, and Indians. It paid $50,000. That one. Nick Bogdanovich and William Hill said just wait till what happens in August and September with these, because the haves and the have-nots in baseball. You saw it already Sunday with some big prices. One did go down as the Cubs got beat against the White Sox. UFC, Amanda Nunes, minus $5 up to $1,400, back down to $8, an easy win. Dern over Cooper, UFC women, 220 up to 270. The Braves, 130 up to 145. They took money. Urena, the Marlins are now 0-9 in Urena starts. Braves win 4-3. Orioles with a rocking chair game, 17-1 over the Rays. $1.05 up to $1.20. And the Astros from 280 up to 320. They win 6-1. Their team ERA is 2.49.
Yeah, the crazy thing with the Astros right now, okay, when you look at their season-long run differential, as good as any in MLB, when you look at their pitching, which has been tremendous all season long, when you look at we know how good this lineup is. They won the World Series last year. Houston, so far year to date, not profitable. And as you saw yesterday, even the games where they win, there's steam on the Astros. When you see a team put together the type of numbers that Houston has put up over the first month or 6 weeks of the season, and they're not showing a profit despite those numbers, it's going to be hard to find spots to bet on Houston. And look at Baltimore yesterday with the 17-1 blowout over Tampa. Orioles showing signs of life for the first time all year. They took money. They got the money. That one, a clear right side winner.
Lose some on some bad bets. Seattle 180 up to 220. That was Paxton. They got beat. How about a Premier League recap now that that's over? Man City, what a performance. All the records they set in the Premier League. We'll talk to you in August. Can't wait. Points, 100. Wins, 32. Goals, 106. Away wins, 16. Goal differential, plus 79. Title winning margin, 19. All records in the Premier League. Crystal Palace started out with, they didn't score in their first 7 matches. They finished in 11th place. Great turnaround there. Chelsea, third straight defending champ, to finish outside the top 4. And 10 matches yesterday, all at the same time. I love how they do that. 3 teams sent down, 3 sent up. Love relegation. 0 draws. We had a 5-4 thriller between Tottenham and Leicester City. One bad beat going back to the 5th major, TPC. Tiger Woods is 8 under through 12 holes in the 3rd round, and Golf Channel can't show any coverage. That was ridiculous. They didn't cut to him until the 16th hole. The Golf Channel. And Spieth was 8 under at one point, too. I couldn't believe what I was watching with that, where Golf Channel has the coverage on Saturday morning till the NBC comes on 11 Pacific and Tiger Woods is carving up the course, the biggest name in golf, and you can't watch it. Ridiculous.
And that's insane to me because the only ratings draw that golf has after all these years is still Tiger Woods. You would think they would focus the coverage in, but I mean, come on, Paulie, let's be real. It's not like we're short on Tiger Woods coverage when it comes to golf right now. There's no other named golfer after all these years that attracts the attention of the mainstream public that Tiger Woods has been able to do.
All right, here we go. Game 1, Western Conference Finals, 6 o'clock Pacific on TNT. Rockets 1.5, 225 the total. Series price, nothing but Golden State money. They're as high as 220 at some spots. Take back 175. William Hill took over $500,000 on the Warriors at minus $2 to win the series price. This is what they've been waiting for. This is what they built in the offseason and why they brought Chris Paul in. They are 50-5 with Harden, Paul, and Capella when they all play. They would have won 70 games if they didn't have any injuries. They took out Minnesota and Utah in 5. Didn't really play well. Won the season series 2-1 against Golden State. They have home court, but also Golden State is 24-3 in 6 playoff series with Kevin Durant. So they've lost 3 times in 6 playoff series, and now you got to beat them 4 out of 7.
Yeah, I mean, it's which trend do you want to look at? That 50-5 with Capella, CP3, and Harden, or the 24-3 of the playoffs with Durant on the floor? 2 pretty good streaks that you're going to have to stand in front of one or the other to get involved in this ballgame. Certainly, when you're talking about the way that the Warriors are approaching the Rockets, they're approaching it like it's the toughest test they've had at any point during this championship run. And let's not forget, Golden State is an underdog. They were not good underdogs during the regular season. They lost 5 of their 6 games catching points. But when you talk about the basic thought process of these 2 teams, Golden State's been there before. Houston trying to climb that mountain, trying to get to the window. And I love the quote from Steve Kerr. You know, it's a quote that really stood out to me. I like where we are. Our guys have rings. That's a good position to be in. To me, the hardest championship is the first one as an individual player and as a team, because you don't quite know if you can do it. Once you get the first one, there's a little bit of house money, but you want it again because it's an unbelievable feeling. I like our position. We know we're going to go in here knowing we're the defending champs, knowing how we got a couple of championships here the last few years. Let's go get another one. It's a nice feeling to have to go in to this series with. That level of confidence for the Golden State Warriors that the Houston Rockets don't have. And I'll tell you what, if Golden State wins game 1 tonight, all the demons are going to be coming out talking about James Harden's failures and Chris Paul's failures and Mike D'Antoni's failures in these key playoff games and playoff series throughout the course of their careers.
Well, I would blame David Stern for D'Antoni's failures, and also Chris Paul exercised the demons as he made it to a conference final now. And this is the best team Golden State's ever played with the record they put together. Oh, I will agree with you. If they spit up home court early, they're in trouble because Golden State has won 15 in a row at home and tied the record. A big key to this series is going to be Capella, who averaged 15 and 13 in the first 2 rounds and outplayed Towns and Gobert. Some people are calling for them to go small ball with the Tucker, Ariza, Mbah Moute lineup, which outscored their opponents by 25 points per 100 possessions in 222 minutes. Bombs away. You have to out-warrior the Warriors here. I want them to shoot at least 45 threes a game. And I think that's how you can beat Golden State as well. Don't have Harden relax and take those lazy step-back threes. And we'll see how much ISO ball they use as well. But the supporting cast is going to be huge. Gordon, Ariza, Mbah Moute, and Tucker did not play well during the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, and they still won in 5 against Utah and still beat Minnesota in 5 as well. But Gordon had a big game in the game they lost against Golden State. He had 30. Green had a 29-point game. So the bench did. Mbah Moute and Tucker played well in the first game of the season when they beat them. Those are the guys who are going to be key to this series. And how many threes, we know about Harden and Paul, but how many threes will a Mbah Moute and Tucker hit as well? And they like to slow it down. There's some great numbers here. that they were at the bottom in pace. They were number 6 in the league regular season in defense. These are the top 2 defensive teams in the playoffs as well.
Yeah, I mean, we think about Houston as this run and gun team. In fact, the possession numbers show very clearly, especially in the postseason, the Rockets have not been playing that run and gun style. Golden State is the team that's looking to push the pace here. Houston may well want to slow the pace, deal with all of Golden State switching, and then hope that switching produces some kind of a mismatch, and then attack it. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see the Rockets try to slow it down offensively to make this series as slow as possible, because we all know what Golden State can do in transition. It's worth noting, we talk about Houston playing slow, we talk about three-point shooting. The Warriors rank number 15 out of 16 playoff teams in three-point shooting percentage. So far, they have not shot the rock well from beyond the arc. Golden State starts hitting threes. That's going to be a problem for the Rockets, whether it's game 1, game 2, game 5, whenever it is. But the bottom line for this Houston team, they need to control the pace. They cannot let the Warriors get out in transition. And they need to continue to give Golden State problems from the three-point line. But one last quote from Steve Kerr. This is the defending champs, the heart of the champs. Quote, "They are taking the challenge and they're embracing it. We seem to be at our best when we are threatened. That's been kind of the MO of this team, and we're definitely threatened." Worth noting, first series that Golden State will be starting on the road during any of their championship runs. So it is a very different situation for the Warriors after, I believe, the last 15 playoff series all started on their home floor.
Yeah. I would not run with them. I'm with you there. And although we got a pick on this coming up, 4 of the 5 games against the Pelicans, closing number went under the total. And you're worried about leakouts and runouts if Harden's taking deep threes and there's no one back to defend off the misses. There's a Las Vegas and a Houston story angle to this story, which I cannot believe. I love this story. So Tillman Fertitta, I think it was in September or early, he bought the Rockets. Tillman Fertitta also owns the Golden Nugget Casino here in Las Vegas, which means they had to take the Rockets games off the board. Here, it's the Western Conference Finals. They can't book the games. Imagine if they beat the Warriors. They'll be in the finals and you can't take action. Tony Miller says he gets asked about it 100 times a day. But so you can't take action as a rule. But also, as a result of this, the Golden State Warriors have already been graded a winner at the Golden Nugget to win the Western Conference. Doesn't matter. And if the Rockets beat the Warriors and go to the finals, whoever comes out of the East will be graded the winner no matter the outcome of what happens. So if Boston beats Cleveland and they match up with the Rockets in the finals, no matter what happens before the series is even played, the Celtics will be graded the winner. Because they have to have a winner, and Houston's not eligible because they can't book Rockets games or Rockets futures. This story is crazy, Teddy.
It is an insane story. And of course, I remember when Caesars, the company that owns Caesars, owned the New York Knicks, and you couldn't bet on the Knicks or the Rangers at any of the Caesars or Harris property. I mean, this has happened before. It's a long-standing rule in Las Vegas. When you own the team, you can't bet on them at their casino. I don't think that's necessarily a bad rule, but it does create enormous amounts of confusion within that casino. And here, the Golden Nugget, of course, probably going to cost them a fair bit of money, having Fertitta having bought the Rockets after they started booking future bets for this season. Obviously, not a great result for the house at the Nugget, but there's really not much they can do about it. And if you bet that at the Nugget, you're already in position to cash your ticket, regardless of the outcome of the series. That's always nice when that happens, Paulie, although it doesn't happen every day.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Play of the day coming up in a second. Time for the deep dive. The big news this morning, unbelievable. 7-2 vote. The Supreme Court has overturned PASPA, opening the doors for states to legalize sports betting. Per the ruling, Congress can regulate sports gambling directly, but if it elects not to do so, each state is free to act on its own. And I think William Hill, I've been told all along, William Hill can be open within 2 weeks is at Monmouth Park, and they're ready to go. I know people who work there, and the marketing guy's been going back and forth from Vegas to New Jersey. So it's a big win for William Hill and New Jersey. I feel good for Lesniak. And Atlantic City was dying. And you know this, Teddy. PASPA was a joke. And I'm glad that the Supreme Court did the right thing today.
Yeah, amen for that. Okay, this is obviously exciting. Let's run through some of these tweets because there's a ton of them. The one from the SCOTUS Supreme Court of the U.S. blog at SCOTUS. SCOTUS holds the federal prohibition on state laws authorizing sports betting violates the anti-commandeering rule. That's the technicality of how the U.S. law PAPSA got overturned. The anti-commandeering doctrine basically prohibits the federal government from commandeering state governments, more specifically from imposing targeted, affirmative, or coercive duties upon state legislators or executive officials. Bottom line, I'm not a legal expert, but the bottom line is this is overturned. It's the Supreme Court. It's not going back. David Payne Purdom. The federal prohibition on sports betting is over. Patrick Everson. Supreme Court finds in favor of New Jersey betting, sports betting case. 6 justices signed on for the majority, although there was a 7th justice, as you mentioned, who was also with the majority in that case. But, the Daniel Wallach tweet. U.S. Supreme Court rules that federal ban on state-sanctioned sports betting is unconstitutional. Decides in favor of New Jersey. This is the key. Floodgates now officially open for other states to allow sports betting. R.I.P. PAPSA. PAPSA was a stupid law. It took an unbelievable amount of time to overturn it. I'm with you on Lesniak as being a hero for every sports bettor in the country right now. And Chris Christie, because the fact is, they spent what? Probably $10 million of taxpayer money in New Jersey trying to get this thing overturned. And that's, when you talk about federal lawsuits against the states and state lawsuits against the feds, that's taxpayer dollars. So I appreciate it, taxpayers in New Jersey. Thanks for making our market so much bigger.
All right, couple of things. Are the days of $1.10 gone? Everyone's going to have their hand in the cookie jar. That's been a big concern by many. You could limit the payout on parlays, or would the legal bookie continue to benefit because we might have to see $1.20, or they might raise this because everyone's going to want a piece of the pie.
If minus 110 does not survive, every offshore is still going to be in business. Every bookie is still going to be in business. I think, I can't, again, we're talking about government, so they will constantly make wrong decisions and be convinced by people that aren't experts what the right thing to do is. But even with all the different fingers in the pie, at minus 115, it doesn't work. I think people recognize that, but it's going to be a state-by-state deal. I can tell you some states are going to do it right, and some states is going to be laughing stocks when it comes to this sports betting legislation. We would hope that the feds would get involved, but here's a tweet from Ben Fox. Supreme Court has overturned PASPA, opening the doors for states to legalize sports betting. Per the ruling, quote, Congress can regulate sports gambling directly, but if it elects not to do so, each state is free to act on their own. I'm telling you, Pauly, Congress is not ready to act on this, which means there's going to be a hodgepodge of laws around the country. Minus 110 could be gone in some states. I don't think it'll be gone everywhere.
I love your line. I'll use it here. People love the bet, but more people bet on sports than play the stock market. Okay. Now it also changes how the networks are going to embrace this. Is it Teddy Covers now in the morning and not Howie Long talking about the game and not laughing at his own stupid jokes? Are these stupid pregame shows going by the wayside now? I got to see what the networks do now. The network, ESPN, Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS. You have to all this money that's out there now, and more people bet than play the stock market. And the American Gaming Association estimates that more than $150 billion is bet on sports annually in the United States. You have to tailor your programming to sports bettors now, and the fact that it's just a huge new revenue stream for them as well.
Well, be careful, because we have history. We have recent history of what's happened when a country has legalized sports betting. It happened in Australia. And I'll tell you what, the impacts in Australia overall would be a negative, I would say, because what happened? As soon as sports betting became legal, boom, all the coverage dominated by sports betting. The lines, all talked about through every show. The gear that they're wearing, sportsbook, the advertising dollars coming in, sportsbook. And what happened was, it was almost like with the fantasy networks when, FanDuel and DraftKings were battling and it was just too much. They turned off the mainstream audience. And long term, the numbers have started to decline in Australia for sports betting, for viewership. So They don't want to make it all sports betting. It can't be all sports betting all the time. If the networks try to do that, they will turn off the mainstream audience. We've seen that happen already when Australia made the sports betting legalization decision, what, about 2 decades ago?
I got a quote from, one thing. He did do a 180 on this, and I know he had Adam Silver's help. How about David Stern in 2012 saying New Jersey has no idea what they're doing? Oh, God, that's a doozy.
Sure. I mean,
All right.
when you start reading any of the old quotes, Pauly, any of the quotes from the leagues as they were fighting against sports betting legalization through every step of the process, they look laughably outdated. The initial arguments from 2012 and 2013 compared to what the leagues themselves have been arguing over the course of the last couple of years. I think it'll work out fine, but I'll tell you, there will be chaos initially. No overriding federal legislation. State by state, are open for some very silly decisions.
All right. Play of the day. It's been a hectic morning. What do you want to do?
You think? Nothing more
money
fun
time.
than
Play of the day. Huh?
I'd say nothing more fun than, well, all of a sudden the biggest sports betting decision of the last 2 decades coming on. Oh, what, about a half hour before we went on air? Yeah, it has been a hectic morning. But shot clock. Let's do shot clock first. How long until half of the U.S. can bet legally? And I'm going to say take the over on that. I really will. I do not think this is going to be a seamless transition. I do not think the feds are going to be able to come in and anything's going to get passed on a federal level until there are problems state by state. And while there are a handful of states that have been aggressive towards enabling and legalizing sports betting as soon as the Supreme Court decision came through, the majority of states have not, Pauly. I do not think it's going to be a quick transition. Anyone that thinks that, oh, tomorrow you can get up and make a legal sports bet, most states, not this year, not next year, not the year after. It's going to take a while.
Here's a press release from William Hill I just received. We're excited, not just for ourselves, but for sports fans across the country. We're going to get ready to open for business at Monmouth Park as soon as possible. That's from Joe Asher, the CEO. We've been working towards this day for a long time and take great satisfaction in the Supreme Court's decision. Very good. Unbelievable. Money time, play of the day. Winner with the Celtics under. Let's go 7-3-1, 7-3-2, right back at it. Warriors Rockets under 225. The top two defenses in the playoffs meet in the Western Conference Finals. And Houston was 6th in the regular season as well. They also like to slow the pace down. Feeling out process. Both teams had a long layoff. Let's go under game one. Remember the closing number. Going by the closing number, the Warriors played 4 or 5 games under in that Pelican series. Let's go under 225 for game one. More on this tomorrow. More on this game. We'll preview game 2. Celtics 8-0 ATS at home in the playoffs. We got a series in the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll run all that down coming up tomorrow on SB Sportsbit. Betting Insight today on SBRpicks.com. Thank you.